auto. Yeah, auto. Hey. Young surfboard in here with me. HGA. Can't go back. Used to touch that. Can't go back. Can't.
What is up, Clemson Nation? Welcome back. Not having a live stream tonight. We're just going to have a good old regular video and get ready for ACC play again with the Tar Heels of North Carolina and the Tigers traveling up to Chapel Hill for the first time since 2010, a year in which it was Dabo's only losing record as a head coach and the last time North Carolina beat us. So I think I can't remember the score off the top of my head, but I want to say we lost by less than a touchdown. It was a good game. It was an unfortunate game. North Carolina wasn't very good that year. But anyway, this year, man, should be an easy win for Clemson. Tigers played Charlotte last week, and I don't know about you guys, but I've never had a game feel more like a scrimmage than that game did, and that includes games against Furman and other programs like that. Trevor Lawrence didn't play but a couple minutes into the second quarter, not half, while all these other teams like Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio State are running it up and not playing a ton of players, honestly. Clemson played 110 or 111 players. Y'all, we are scrimmaging everybody we play. We played a ton of people versus Texas A&M, and they never had a screaming shot to win that game. We're just playing with people. And I don't think it'll change with North Carolina this week. Clemson wins last week 52-10. Most exciting thing was the halftime show where Clemson was filming the movie that's being filmed about Clemson. That was by far the loudest it got and the most exciting part of the game, y'all. We are just playing with these teams, which you should with Charlotte, but we have with everybody. So there's really not much to take away from that game. A lot of the freshmen and younger guys looked good, but it was a scrimmage. So the Tar Heels have had by far one of the most up and down seasons. They, like Florida State, have not had a blowout win or a blowout loss, and every game has been one possession. Just like Florida State. So they start off the year upsetting South Carolina. South Carolina thought they'd have a decent team, knew their schedule would be tough. North Carolina dominates that game. It's a close game, but they look better. They play Miami, back and forth game, beat Miami, who's looked awful too. Then, you go to that Wake Forest game, and this North Carolina team has been pretty much the opposite of Florida State. I know I'm talking a lot about Florida State. That's who we play after North Carolina. Florida State started off slow and sucked at the end. Well, North Carolina, Florida State starts off hot, slows down at the end. North Carolina starts off slow and then goes crazy at the end. We saw it in both of their losses so far and in the Miami game as well. And Wake Forest is really good this year. It is Wake Forest, so nobody's going to talk about them being good, but they are good this year. They're probably going to win 10 games. Maybe not even including the bowl game. That the ACC, y'all know how down the ACC is this year and last year, but this year again, while there's so much rebuilding going on, Wake Forest is a good team already. So they have a chance to win double digits this year. App State has been solid. There was no excuse for North Carolina to lose that game. North Carolina has looked fairly complete for a team that is honestly in shambles. It's a very young team. What Mack Brown has been able to get out of this team so far this year is miraculous. Now, I said at the beginning of the year that North Carolina would be better than most people expected. I didn't expect a 2-0 start, though. Maybe I actually expected it to go the opposite of what it did. I could have seen 2-2, but I would have thought they would have lost to South Carolina and Miami and beat Wake Forest in App State. So it's gone the opposite of what me and probably a lot of other people predicted. But the offenses look solid. They had a great offense last year, just didn't have any defense. Sam Howell has looked good so far this year, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That stat line looks better than Trevor's, but we know who the more talented player is by far. They are a pass-heavy team, as they were for the most part last year. Williams is their leading rusher this year with only 299 yards. The defense though has been much better. I mean, let's just look at the points they were giving up last year through the first four versus this year. You know, they gave up 41 to ECU. They won against Pitt, but still gave up 35. Gave up 47 to 10 loss to Miami last year, a team they beat this year. So the defense has looked so much better. Even in the games they lost, they gave up 34 to App State, but App State has a good defense. Not that there's an excuse there, but you know, I expect it could be a little close at the beginning. North Carolina's fans are going to be pumped. This is a big game, but North Carolina is really going to start to slow down, go downhill. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond after Clemson. They've got a bunch of very winnable games against Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Duke before they play Virginia. So, you know, you're probably not going to beat us. You're not going to beat us. But then you have a chance to get back to having, you know, a winning record before you go play Virginia or host Virginia, which should be a big one. In this game, North Carolina's defense, like I said, they've improved. They may hold Clemson to under 50. They may hold Clemson to under 40, but their offense is not going to put up many points. It's just not going to happen. They might have a couple of freak touchdowns, but they're not going to get to 20. It's not going to happen. They're not getting to 20. I'll go with a prediction of Clemson 42, North Carolina 17. They can keep it close, and I could be wrong, but I really think that we're going to see better play from Clemson, them starting to wake up. I really want to see Trevor play a little longer. I want to see the whole starting offense play a little longer and get in rhythm, because y'all do know that the starting offense has been slightly out of rhythm at times. Nothing to worry about, but you know, I want to see us starting to get it rolling a few games. As long as we win out and start really getting serious near the end of the season when it really matters, that should be good. But man, this schedule, y'all. And I hate conference homers. I hate talking about conference stuff. But, you know, 2015, 2016, and 2017, last year was an amazing, fun year. We played some good teams and some teams that were good at the time. But this year, it's just not quite as fun when everybody you play is horrible. South Carolina, y'all suck too. So that non-conference game there, A&M, my lord, no offense, y'all. I predicted A&M to have one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the SEC, and wow, was I wrong. I mean, good lord. A&M's horrible. They're horrible. Jimbo. I mean, we knew it was an idiotic hire, but wow. So, you know, the schedule it's cake. It's cake this year. Hopefully some other teams will step up in the future. Doesn't matter, because when we get to the playoffs, we're going to smack you, and nobody that is going to be in the playoffs will have played a brutal schedule. Nobody that's going to make the playoffs. There's teams that play brutal schedules, A&M, South Carolina, but nobody in the playoffs, nobody that makes the playoffs this year will have had a brutal schedule, so don't want to hear that excuse. So real quick, to finish this video off, let's get back at the college pick'em I did on the live stream last week. I do want to go through this every week and see how I do. And I did not do great the first week that I did it. Didn't do it in week 1 or 2 or 3 with you guys, so I won't include any of that. But last week I went 6-4. You know, I picked A&M, picked Northwestern, they lost. Picked I picked Arizona State, they lost to Colorado. And then I picked San Diego State, who lost to Utah State, who Wake Forest beat, by the way. That was a big win for them. So let's go ahead and look at this week's pick'ems, and then I'll do a few of the other ones really quick, but I'm only going to include the pick'ems here. We got Texas A&M. We got Arkansas. Now, as bad as A&M is, and as much as I just said about them, you cannot pick against them in that game. Arkansas just lost, y'all, San Jose State. And I'm pulling for Chad Morris. He's a Clemson guy, or, you know, he's Dabo's only branch out. You know, the only coordinator that has a head coaching job in division or in the FBS. But man, to never lead against San Jose State, y'all, San Jose State is like New Mexico State. I mean, horrendous program. Northwestern versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin's gonna, blow the brakes off of them. Hunter Johnson has surprised me this year and just not being who I thought it would be. Big one at 3:30 the same time Clemson plays North Carolina between Virginia and Notre Dame. Georgia. Great game. Everybody, including Uncle Lou, was saying that Georgia was going to run away with it. Y'all saw my prediction if you watched the live stream or just replayed it. Y'all saw my prediction. I predicted a big Georgia win. Y'all, Georgia looks mediocre. And I don't want to hear this talk about Notre Dame. Y'all, Notre Dame was better last year when Clemson beat them 30-3, and y'all all said they suck. So when you're at home and you barely beat a Notre Dame team with no running game this year, and you barely win. And now I'm hearing it. I haven't watched all Lou's videos, but I saw on Twitter he was defending it as this huge win. A lot of these Georgia fans and these SEC homers and all that, huge win. Y'all, no, Georgia just looked mediocre. Notre Dame's not better than they were last year. Y'all gave Clemson hell, but you want to act like it was a big win. Biggest game in Georgia's stadium the last, 20 or 30 years? Highest priced tickets. But Notre Dame's a nobody. Media was pretty stupid on that. But anyway, Virginia and Notre Dame will actually be a pretty good game, as bad as Virginia's looked. Y'all, Virginia moved up, 4 spots from barely escaping Old Dominion. As bad as the ACC is, and we need somebody respectable, I just don't see them winning that game. I just don't see it. I think it'll be a close game, but I think that Notre Dame will find a way to win. It's in South Bend. So, Southern Cal and Washington. Southern Cal's been pretty up and down, and y'all know the higher-ranked team in the Pac-12 is going to lose. That's just the way it is. Southern Cal beats Washington in Seattle. Iowa State and Baylor. Baylor hasn't played anybody, but, Iowa State had that heartbreaking loss and the huge weather delay to Iowa. Iowa State is on the road in Waco. That is a 50-50 pick from people. I'm going Baylor there. Auburn and Mississippi State. I think that could be a close game, too. Mississippi State, that lost to Kansas State a little earlier. And Auburn has looked pretty good. They've looked a lot better than I expected. Like I said, I should have known that would have happened because it's an odd year. They're going to win 10 games. Going Auburn there. Going Auburn pretty big. Kansas State at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State hung with Texas pretty well last week before pulling away. Kansas State ranked after winning in Starkville a couple weeks ago. Kansas State, young new coach. Got to go with the Cowboys there. Ohio State, Nebraska. That's a joke. Ohio State's it's gonna be great atmosphere in Lincoln. Ohio State's gonna run them over. Washington State at Utah. I know I said the higher ranked team hardly ever wins. I'm still going Utah there, man. I went to sleep right before the end of that Washington State, or not right before, but I went to sleep right before the run started. I went to sleep when it was 49-17. I fell asleep, and Lord, I should have stayed up. I'm pretty sure I saw UCLA score right as I was falling asleep, but I had no idea, man, that would have happened. Hawaii and Nevada. I'm going to go with Nevada. Jet lag will get Hawaii, as it usually does. So, got that. And then I'm just going to run through a few picks here with the other games going on. Duke, Virginia Tech tomorrow night. I got Duke. Virginia Tech, Fuente, horrible. Penn State at Maryland. I actually have Maryland winning that game coming off of that Temple loss. Maryland could be one of those teams that's just way up and down this year. So let's keep looking here. I should do Rutgers and Michigan after the way Michigan played, but I think Michigan's going to run away with that one. TCU, Kansas could be a good one. Kansas held, I know West Virginia's horrible, but Kansas stuck around with them last week. And how about that Pitt win over UCF? I definitely didn't see that going the way it did at all. I thought UCF would steamroll them, but maybe Pitt's Pitt. They're always going to get that upset win. I fully expect them to go 5-7 or 6-6. So Ole Miss, Alabama. That's a joke. I don't think Alabama will cover. Good Lord, it's at 38 or 37.5. Yeah, Alabama's not covering, but man. What has happened to Ole Miss? So that Wake Forest at BC game is actually one of the bigger games in the ACC Saturday. Wake Forest should win. I'll go with Wake Forest. They're a 7-point favorite. It'd be tough to take the over on that because it is Wake Forest. I don't trust them. But BC, man, last time they were at home just getting steamrolled by Kansas. Oof. And then we'll cover, the last one I'll cover on this video is the other ACC game, which used to be a great game, NC State and Florida State. Florida State coming off of that close win against Louisville. NC State's looked horrible. Florida State hasn't been blown out. That's a big improvement from last year. I have the Noles are a 6.5-point favorite. Man, NC State, y'all gotta get it together. Taggart wins. Florida State's on a 2-game winning streak. Do they have a bye before us too? I think they do. They do. So they're going to be on a 2-game winning streak heading into the game in Death Valley before we just prey on their souls and destroy them just as bad as last year probably. They have a better offense this year, but... And then I'll throw in the Kentucky-South Carolina game. Man, I'm enjoying South Carolina football this year. I don't know about y'all. Kentucky wins. All right, guys, go Tigers. Let's get ready for some just domination. I mean, come on, somebody step up and compete with us.